Joining me now from the Capitol is CBS News congressional correspondent Nancy Cordes. Nancy, good to see you.
Good to be with you, DeMarco.
Republicans from the House of Representatives to the White House have been hitting the Congressional Budget Office ahead of its scoring of the bill. What are we looking for in that report?
Well, the Congressional Budget Office report will tell us, first off, how much this Republican plan will cost. And that is important for so many reasons. First of all, lawmakers like to know how much a bill is going to cost. It's one of the main ways that they gauge whether they like the bill or not. And then also, Republican leaders will have to come up with a variety of ways to pay for that cost. That's something else that we haven't heard from them yet. And then another big number that everyone is going to be looking for is how many people might lose coverage under the GOP alternative to Obamacare. We've seen a variety of private analyses that have estimated that anywhere from 2 million to 15 million people will lose coverage for a variety of reasons. First of all, because the tax credits are in many cases less generous than Obamacare's subsidies. There are some cuts to Medicaid that kick in after a couple of years. And of course, the GOP plan eliminates that individual mandate requiring people to get insurance, charging them a penalty if they don't. So for all those reasons, we expect that the CBO will come up with a number of people losing insurance somewhere within that window. But obviously, it's going to make a big difference to a lot of Republicans, whether they come in on the low end, a couple million people losing insurance, or on the high end, somewhere like 15 million.
Nancy, do we expect President Trump to engage in the health care debate once the CBO analysis comes through? And how influential can the White House be to push through a health care bill?
Well, the question is going to be whether the president continues to be an advocate for this bill, continues to meet one-on-one with wary conservative lawmakers if the CBO score is something that Republicans by and large deem unfavorable or even unacceptable. Up until now, he hasn't been someone who has gotten involved in the nitty-gritty, but he's been content to sell the plan. He sent his vice president out on the road this weekend to sell the plan in Kentucky. But if the CBO determines that a lot of people, millions and millions of people, are going to lose coverage, well, that's going to fly directly in the face of what this president promised on the campaign trail. And even after that, in the White House, he has said repeatedly, nobody is going to lose coverage. We're going to cover everyone. So if the CBO says, actually, no, you're not, 15 million people are going to lose coverage, that's going to be a big problem for this president.
All right, so a final question for you. What happens next? After the CBO report comes out, will the bill see movement this week?
That's the plan. There is a snowstorm coming, so that could always gum up the works. But the plan is that the bill will go through the Budget Committee in the House this week and head to a full vote on the House floor next week. There are a number of things, however, that could get in the way of that. If this CBO score really gives a lot of Republicans cold feet and Republican leaders start to count votes and realize they don't have the votes, then they might need to take a pause, as some Senate Republicans have proposed. They might need to try to alter various parts of the bill. And then the big question is, even if it can pass the House, what's going to happen in the Senate? You've already got a number of Senate Republicans saying this bill cannot pass here. Don't pass it in the House. You'll only be walking the plank for a bill that's going nowhere. And so the question is, do Republican leaders just sort of swallow that and ask their members to walk the plank anyway? Or do they assume that these Senate Republicans are bluffing and that they'll get behind it at the end of the day?
All right, Nancy Cordes in Washington. Nancy, thank you.
You're welcome.